So, hi everybody, and welcome to today's session. Uh, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, thanks. Okay, so many of you were there in the morning session. Some of you are new, so quickly just to set a context. Uh, these sessions are being conducted as part of the Living Well Plus series, and also to commemorate Yoga International Yoga Day. And with us, we have Karthik, who is a yoga practitioner. He is also a qualified yoga trainer, and has also all his qualifications and education has also been in yoga. And this morning itself, we had a good participation of over 50 of you who actually experienced him. The focus was more on desk yoga. It was more on what are some of the postures and poses that you can do as a break in between your work, especially when most of us are having desk jobs sitting in front of devices. Keeping that theme in mind, Karthik's this session will focus also on, what are some of the other yoga techniques that we can use in between work. He's going to focus a lot more on the breathing and stress management aspects as well. And it's an interactive session. So if you have any queries during the course of the session, we invite you to raise your hand, or you just unmute yourself and ask the question. To make the session a little more meaningful for Karthik and for yourself, it will be helpful if you can keep your cameras on. That way, he'll be able to observe the postures you are taking, and he will be able to, rectify or comment if there are some corrections that need to be made. So with that, I will like to now invite Karthik to take it forward. Karthik, just one caveat here. There are many colleagues of ours who are going to slowly join in. So in between, you might have a larger number of people joining in. But in the interest of time, those who are on time, we'll start the session. So over to you, Karthik.
Did I attend the wrong one? I hope morning wala.
So
I'll
this
request
session,
everyone to keep themselves on mute. Keep the cameras on, but keep yourself on mute.
so this part of the session, I was planning to take all of you into an immersive journey in something called Yoga Nidra, a variation of it practiced on your chairs, and then focusing on what is stress, how do we manage it, and what is mindfulness, and what next after mindfulness. That will be the later part of the event today. So for the first half, it's okay for you all to have your cameras off. Actually, it will be a completely immersive audio-based experience with me providing the instructions. So let's first dive into the experience. Let the experience be the best teacher. That's direct knowledge, or paravidya as we call it. And then we will focus on the interaction part. So for anybody joining in later, if you have a friend next to you, do give them the context. So let's start the session now. All of you be seated as comfortably as you can. As comfortably as you can. If possible, place your phones in silent mode. This is going to be a very deep immersion. So whatever distractions we can control, let's curtail it right now and then go ahead with the eyes closed. Completely relax. Stretch your legs out if need be. Relax your feet. Slow down the breathing. Let your breath slow down. You can take back support from the chair as well. Relax your back. You do not have to sit straight, do not have to sit stiff, as relaxed as you can be. And now, a Yoga Nidra journey. Take a deep breath. Focus on the heels of your feet. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your toes. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your feet. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your ankles. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your calf muscles. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your knees. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your thighs. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your tailbone, the pelvic girdle. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your lower back. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your stomach. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your middle back. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your shoulder blades. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your triceps. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your forearms. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your hands. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your wrists. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your elbows. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your biceps. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your shoulder joints. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your heart. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on your neck. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus at the back of your head. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on the top of your head, the crown. Breathe out and relax. Breathe in and focus on the face. Breathe out and relax. Now we slowly shift the focus using the breath as a gateway inwards. Take a deep and slow breath in, going into your inner worlds. Observe the present moment. Observe yourself as a presence. Observe what you feel. Here and now. You are at the right time and place with yourself to heal and to empower yourself. As you breathe in, visualize or define any part of you, any aspect of you that you would like to heal. As you breathe out, let go of that suffering with grace. Breathe in and rejuvenate. Breathe out and let go. Visualize all the ways you would put in the effort to heal something within. Breathe in and rejuvenate. Breathe out and let go. The next step of this journey, define and visualize something you would like to empower. Perhaps it's courage, perhaps it's clarity, perhaps it's conviction in your abilities and capacities.
And
The clearer you define it, the better it will be. In this phase, in this step, breathe in fresh prana, fresh life force into yourself. Breathe out stagnated energies from within. As you breathe out, make space for fresh growth within you. Take a deep breath in, fresh prana inward. Breathe out stagnated energies, loops, toxic patterns within. Breathe in and define what you need to empower. Breathe out and let go anything that no longer serves the purpose of your health, wealth, or growth. The next step, along with embracing your presence, a moment of gratitude to all the benevolent elders that have come in your life, for all the good things that you have. And finally, visualize gratitude towards a higher force of your choosing. With gratitudes being given, we slowly end the journey with grace. Focus on the breath. As you breathe in, slowly start to bring closure to this journey, your definition of closure. As you breathe out, slowly start to focus on the tip of your nose. Breathe in and energize. Breathe out and focus on the top of your head. Breathe in and energize. Breathe out and focus at the back of your head. Breathe in and energize. Breathe out and focus on your neck. Breathe in and energize. Breathe out and focus on your heart. Breathe in and energize. Breathe out and focus on your hands. Breathe in and energize. Breathe out and focus on your hips, your stomach, your lower back. Breathe in and energize. Breathe out and focus on your legs. Breathe in and energize. Breathe out and focus on your feet, slowly grounding yourself back into the awareness. Please keep the eyes closed. Bring your hands together. Start to rub your hands together. First part, to heal and energize. Place your right hand at the tummy, left hand on top of right hand. Breathe in and energize. Energize your core, your ambition, your hunger to chase the purpose you have, your core identity, and of course, your core muscles. Take a deep breath in, breathe out through the mouth. Rub your hands together again. Hands on the heart center. Energize empathy, wholeness, grace, hope, and finally, self-love. Take a deep breath in, breathe out through the mouth. Rub your hands again. Place your hands at the sides and back of the neck, sides and back of the neck. Take a deep breath in, breathe out through the mouth. Rub your hands last time. Center of the hands, touching your eyes, energizing your vision, your clarity. Take a deep breath in, breathe out through the mouth. Slowly place your hands a bit ahead of you and open your eyes. Look into the hands. Take a moment. Take a moment to ground yourselves back into the office rooms. If you would like to write something down that you felt is important during this process, do take notes. 1 minute of time to slowly recuperate. Okay, you can have some water if need be. Once you're ready, please turn on your camera.
Friends, I'll invite you to just put on your cameras. Thank you.
Let's slowly move on to the second part, a very crucial part of the session. Stress, understanding stress, managing stress. Now, just to build a framework around stress, how can I define stress? It's a unit of pressure that we are able to handle. And naturally so, our body, our minds, our identity, heart, etc., there is a natural amount of stress that it can handle. And what happens is when we go into deep sleep, it resets and makes sure that the systems related to stress are fresh again to handle for the next day. So that's where sleep becomes very important, and breathing slowly becomes important, etc. So I'll discuss about the tools on managing stress later. If we can understand stress and why it happens, it will be easier to provide first aid for your mind. Now, there are three types of stress. Just for the sake of it, let's make it two: everyday stress and emergency stress. Emergency stress is something, for example, you rarely anticipate it on a day-to-day basis. It can be a sudden power outage after months of constant power supply and you're working on something important. That's something you rarely anticipate and stress happens. Now, emergency situations, educated guess says, let's be on the safe side and protect ourselves, especially if you're coming in contact with a wild animal or something like that. Rare things happen like that. Not every day you come across king cobras and things like that, or something happens in drastic measures. So now comes everyday stress. How do we handle everyday stress depends on how we perceive what stress is for us. Now, in my experience and understanding, stress happens ultimately because of two reasons. Either you don't exactly know what to do in a certain situation, or you're confused of the choices you have for a situation. And you have to make that instant choice, or situation happens, it keeps arising, stress starts arising in your body, in your mind. So essentially, being clear about what it is you're going through in that moment, identifying if you lack some information to proceed ahead with the choice, or what is the best choice you can make in that moment, and letting go of all the other choices, letting go of the potential of regret and guilt for not making another choice which might have seemed better in the retrospection. Okay. And essentially, most of the stress is caused because of fear of the identity being compromised. It can be the work role you play or a personal role you're playing, etc. Essentially, it will backtrack there. Now, what happens if we leave stress unchecked? If left unchecked, see, let's say we are capable of handling 100 units of stress a day. Now, just like any system, if it starts overheating beyond a point and it's being consistently used, the processes start to deteriorate. In the same manner, let's take the example of a spring. Now, a spring has some tenacity. You press it, when you release it, it gets back its tenacity. It's get back that kinetic energy and all that. Our natural stress management within us is like that. Beyond a point every day, we do not consciously unwind and let that energy flow in the right directions. That spring starts to become collapsed always. After a point, if a spring, if let's say for a year you had it in the collapsed form and you release it, the tenacity is not the same. Most of the time, the spring doesn't spring out. Same thing happens with the nervous system and the mind. What does this lead to? According to Yoga Vasishtha, initially, whatever the stress you have in mind will slowly start to manifest psychosomatically into your nervous system, especially at a point where your nervous system is the weakest or you never really worked on it. Basically, lower back or your pelvic girdle region or your throat region. These are some of the sensitive regions where nervous system is always performing under high pressure, and that's where it starts to become weaker and weaker. What next in the psychosomatic model? One weak part of the body is going to be affected. That's how chronic diseases manifest in the long run. It's not a one-day event like like an open wound from an accident. This is a long process of unintentionally or intentionally ignoring to work on our stress levels. So how do we provide first aid? Let's start there, because suddenly you'll be zoned in working on a project. Your boss comes and stands behind you, perhaps stress level spikes up. That happens, right? How do you manage when you're aware that you're stressed out? So the penultimate step would be being aware if you're stressed out or not, if you're in a right frame of mind or not. Let's say you respectfully judge that, okay, not in the right frame of mind, perhaps I'm stressing out. What do I do in the moment? You start to slow down your breath and breathe in through the nose and a sigh out of the mouth. A breathe out plus a sigh out of the mouth. First thing. Another thing you can do is focus on your feet, especially your toes. You can breathe out and crunch your toes, and you can breathe in and stretch your toes out, or move your feet a little, stretch them a bit. That helps you stay grounded into the present moment instead of letting the mind take you elsewhere. Another thing you can do, of course, would be having some water, hydrating yourself. Now, these are perhaps first aid measurements. Now, everyday tools to help with your stress. First and foremost would be either in the morning or before you go to sleep, or both if possible. Double checking your priorities for every role that you're tasked with. Understand, sometimes we immerse ourselves so seriously into a role, we take it personally. Now, to give you an example here, let's say just outside your office, there is a chai shop. Obviously, there will be a chai sutta shop. If your friend calls you there, no tension, no stress. Your mind doesn't think too much about anything. Your identity isn't thinking too much or isn't reacting too much. Your body is relaxed. You take a stroll, meet up with your friend, and come back after having chai. Same thing if it's an important person related to your career. For example, a boss or the person who came in to check your work, etc., etc. They said, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you. Let's go out and meet there." Suddenly, thoughts start running. Suddenly, the stakes seem to be higher. It's the same walk, it's the same chai shop, but priorities sometimes elevate that stress. Always double check the priorities and keep your roles in check. If you take your role too personally, You'll start reacting to every little thing that might not actually make sense for you to waste your energy on. So compartmentalizing that. And this is an everyday practice. Hardly takes 5 minutes. If you have to rush to the office, your priority might not be to stop and fight or swear at a person who did something wrong during your journey on the bike or car, etc. So priorities help. Writing down helps. If it's work related, writing down and mapping out on paper with words help. Hydrating yourself helps a lot. And last but not least, perhaps sometimes it's a food that you ate that causes stress. Empty stomach, you're on your third cup of black coffee, you might feel more acidic than usual. And your gut health might impact the stress level. So the type of food you eat also affects your stress levels. So a bit of awareness on what foods help you stay calm, what foods might spike your adrenaline also helps. So these are some of the everyday things you can prioritize. Now, things that require a lot more effort but guarantees you de-stressing. Regular exercise, especially cardio-based exercise, lifting weight-based exercise, body weight doesn't have to be 100 kgs. Body weight, something that pumps good serotonin levels into your system. That helps. Making sure your macro and micronutrition is met helps. And last but not least, in the long run, is whatever you're doing directing and fueling your purpose in life. Now, the biggest form of stress comes because sometimes our purpose is not bigger than ourselves, or we forget it in the heat of the moment. Most of the time, we are focused when the stakes are beyond us as a person. If it's for a family member, if it's for a friend, we seem to manage it so well. But wherever I is involved, drama starts to happen in the mind. So, a big picture idea, make sure you keep expanding what your purpose is, what your legacy is about. Doesn't matter what type of a job you're doing or what type of a project you're on. Remember, all that you do needs to be a means to the end, which is purposeful and bigger than yourself. That's when everything makes sense. And when things make sense, you'll be ready to sacrifice for them, knowing that it's worth it. It's worth not getting distracted by something or being angry at someone is not worth it, etc., etc. Priorities are empowered. So this is something related to stress I shared. Does mindfulness help here? Of course. Now comes the concept of mindfulness. Now, in order to explain mindfulness from a traditional yogic perspective, let me just give an overview of the Ashtanga or the 8 limbs as per the traditional Patanjali Yoga Sutras. I would prefer calling it as limbs, as in hands, legs, etc., rather than steps. Certain school of thought looks at it as steps. Now, when it comes to limbs, obviously, we would like to work on all the limbs at once, during exercise. It's not like only right hand bicep you will grow, for 3 months and so on. So the first 2 limbs in the Yoga Sutras would be yamas and niyamas, your personal conduct. That is very subjective in nature, depends from philosophy to philosophy, different types of ethics and morals, etc. I'll not get into that. That's totally up to you. Next comes asana and pranayama. Asana technically just means you're practicing a physical austerity so that your body doesn't distract you from focusing on a task for longer hours. Best example I can give you is, let's say you have a project that takes 6 hours straight hard work of you sitting in one seat without any hydration, without any food, etc. Imagine the amount of physical austerity you need to have to do that. So that tradition is what asanas were utilized for, physical austerity, so that deeper rituals could be practiced without body and bodily pains distracting. Pranayama, control over your prana, is because our out breath detoxifies a lot of things in our system. More than the liquid and the gas and the solid versions, it's the breath that detoxifies a lot constantly. And heart health, cardio health. Pranayama comes into picture because the more you are in control of your breath, the easier it is to have stable emotions, clearer mind, and more vibrance. For example, talking fast when you're anxious versus slowing yourself down and talking. That takes practice, but it makes all the difference in the world for you to be stable when communicating and connecting, etc. Next comes pratyahara, right consumption. Best example I can give you is LinkedIn. Now, for example, on LinkedIn, you admire a person who seems to add value with all of their posts, something for you to learn every time you come across their posts. So what do you do according to that technology? You click on their notifications on option so that the moment they post, you're notified, you will not miss out on it. And then there will be some person that will go on and on about how their life changed after looking at a drop of chai early morning, etc., etc. You all come across them. What do you do? Let's say if that person's content is not adding value to you, it's actually distracting or negative impact in your life. It's a waste of time. You go to the options and either you unfollow or do something so that the algorithm doesn't show you that type of content anymore. That concept applying to everything else we do in life as far as consumption goes. Just like how you're assertive with your boundaries in the external world, you can equally with your voice be assertive in your mind if thoughts creep up. And see, mind is an automatic mechanism. It's like AI basically. It's the original AI. Let's put it that way. Your subconscious mind and your unconscious mind are constantly generating thoughts based on your imagination, creativity, identity, and desire. It's just like a heartbeat. We cannot stop or start our heartbeat by ourselves. It's automatic. What we can do instead is influence how fast or slow the heart beats and how healthy it will be, right? In the same manner with our mind. We cannot stop it. It's automatic. It's a tool. We can instead direct and enhance it according to how we want. Takes a bit of practice, but that's the better thing to do than trying to shut it off. And an easy way to do it would be pratyahara, right consumption. When you're scrolling on your favorite social media, if your algorithm has been built in such a way that it empowers you, then your mind works in your favor. If it's built in a way to make you doom scroll, it's distracting away your productivity. Very simple thing. Next comes dharana, dhyana, samadhi, the antaranga part of the yoga, internal part of the yoga. These three limbs, we look at it as a triangle. Dharana Effortful focus. The allegory I can give here is riding a bike. First month, you will be learning how to ride a bike or drive a car. Your complete focus will be effort based. You'll be focusing on the clutch, the brake, rear view mirror, front vision, etc. So many factors everywhere. Your brain is being pressured, your mind is being pressured to keep check on. That's typically what dharana is like. Whatever context you can take. Dhyana, effortless focus. This is where you know how to utilize a vehicle, but in the back of your mind, you're directing your thought onto one topic. For example, let's say the most important person for your career is coming to office today and you're supposed to present something. And you're taking your vehicle on the way, it's a 1 hour ride, etc. Throughout the ride, you'll only be refining that one topic in how can I say something, what can I say, what to be prepared for, etc., etc. Only that the focus is only there, but driving is effortless. Next comes samadhi. Understand this. Most of us are actually in samadhi. Samadhi means nothing but totality, feeling wholesome, feeling complete. Most of the time, we feel complete when we are ourselves and we feel safe and we feel like we're productive or adding value. Best example, having chai with a friend. We feel complete there. Playing with a puppy, we feel complete there. So most of the time, naturally, we are in this samadhi. But can we hack it to always be so? Perhaps. That is what the athletes call flow state. If you look it up in Google, flow state, that's what most of the elite athletes are training for today. Same concept. To be in a flow of focus, attention, intent, etc. Mindfulness comes in dharana, effortful, and filling your mind up with the right stuff. But what beyond mindfulness? You have to go from riding the bike with mindfulness, that is completely being aware of all the steps you need to do, to next being mind freeness. That is letting your mind be automated in the way you want it to. Freedom from the mind. And this is where you being independent comes into picture, in the sense internal independence. Being okay with yourself, with the mistakes you do, with the way you are, etc., etc. The more complete you feel inward, the more mind free you are. And finally, I cannot say no mind. Some of you might think no mind, that's already gone because of work. Let me rather put it this way: being free of the mind itself, being yourself, basically. So, if you look at something very mystical in nature in a very practical sense, all that you do for your internal things leads to being yourself better and more. So mindfulness definitely would be the first step, but don't stop there. Let it flow. Free yourself of it. Be yourself, better yourself. And remember all the things internally, such as building stronger boundaries for your thoughts, being more stable with your emotions. All these take practice, just like public speaking. You need an outlet to practice it in the right manner. All right. Any thoughts, any questions, any doubts that I can help answer? All right, just to recap, value for the day. Stress comes from either not knowing what to do or being confused of a choice. Most of the stress leads back to a compromise in your identity. Prioritize, and mindfulness is a first step. Free your mind and be yourself more and be yourself better. And I did provide some first aid tools, deep breaths, focusing on your feet, hydrating yourself. Again, prioritizing. Self-talk with your mind. Negative talk comes in. Remember what your priorities are again. It beats stress. Also helps with mindfulness. Exercise regularly, take the right nutrition, journal in the right manner, and you will be investing on working with a very powerful thing that you're blessed with. Okay, then if no doubts or thoughts, etc., I think we'll be winding up the session now.
Okay, so before we wind up, Karthik, thank you for that, taking us through morning session as well as this aspect, because breathing can actually, it brings about a whole level of new consciousness also. I think can control your body physically as well as the mind. And yeah, I mean, we are born breathing and it's not something that is taught to us. But I think what you have mentioned is important, which is that we are not mindful of our own breathing. So with that, I will conclude today's sessions. We've, I think, had a good, meaningful participation, and I hope that we have been able to, address or at least make you aware of certain postures, certain good practices, and do this as a habit. It's good that we're doing the session and we've gotten exposure to Karthik, but the day we can make this a habit is where we will be able to see progress. What we're also would, if there are any comments, I'll be happy to invite all my participants here to sort of, maybe just give some comments or one word of, feeling of how you are feeling right now, because many of you I can see have attended the morning session as well. So any reaction, thought, comment? Okay. Friends, Jonathan has just put the feedback form in the group. Yeah, Minakshi says relaxed and insightful. Thanks, Minakshi. Jenna says was very informative. Yep. We will invite you all to just click on the link that is there in the chat box. It's a feedback form. It just has 3 questions. If you can just help me by, quickly clicking on that link and giving us your feedback, because this helps us customize and address the, concern areas or what are your areas of interest, so that we can, make the sessions more meaningful in the future. So do click on that link and give us your responses. And once you're done, you can log off from the call. Thanks once again, Karthik. We appreciate your time today and your expertise and knowledge on the subject.
Thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege, and hope to see you all soon again. And if possible, work on the specifics and help each other grow into more fantastic human beings. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to everyone in the comments. I'm not sure if I'm able to access the chat section in totality, but I can read some of it here. Thank you so much. Hope to see you all shine. I'll see you all soon. I think I'll be taking my leave now. Marian?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
You can take your leave. I will just wait for my colleagues to fill up the form as we exit the session.
Awesome. Thank you.